This is Titus Frost, spitting truth, causing glitches in the matrix.
Recognize the ones who are fake to us. We gotta recognize truth, question what's real. So much more to life than chasing these bills. Money causing stress, and stress can kill. People don't need money, but we all need to heal. We need a clean source of food, clean water. Gotta take better care of our sons and our daughters. Gotta take better care of ourselves. It's time.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Titus Frost / Lulz Machine YouTube channel and Steemit blog and all those other fun platforms. Today I'm here with Pocca, Cape Cod, and we're discussing the fight to keep our water clean. So I'm here with Laura and Natalia, and they'll be discussing what Pocca is and how you can create Pocca in your own neighborhood. So if you'd
Good
like to
idea,
begin.
huh? Hi, I'm Laura Kelly. I'm the president of PoccaCapeCod.org.
And I'm Natalia the vice president of PoccaCapeCod.org.
That stands for Protect Our Cape Cod Aquifer, because I'm the 11th generation born and raised here. And I really think it's up to us to protect our greatest natural resource. So I got together with a couple of concerned citizens and created a nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3 that anybody can do in their town in order to really work with our selectmen to actually change state laws. So that's what we'll be chatting with you about today.
Thank you very much. So what laws have you basically tried to get passed so far? Or bills or any other amendments?
Yeah, so we have a couple of segments. To start off, our first thing, it's kind of like a muscle. Exercising what we can and can't do, and it's been so fascinating to learn what works and what doesn't work. So we're changing laws, we're actually changing history, because this stuff has never happened before. So it's fascinating. The first thing that Pocca did that I thought was next to miraculous was we got 8 Cape Cod towns to lessen and monitor the amount of fertilizer use that they use. These are bylaws and ordinances that the state, it made it to the state level, so it's not non-binding, it's binding. So what does that mean? Okay, so we're trying to lessen our impact of nitrogen and phosphorus above our drinking water. We know we don't want this in our fresh as well as salt waters. So now the towns have the ability to kind of enforce that. And it's brand new, it's only a couple of years old, so what do we do to enforce that? I mean, that's kind of where we're at now. Do we fine people $100? Do we give you first, second, third, and then what, so there's that growing pain situation going on, but it is in writing. We are moving forward. Each town is learning and doing whatever they want to do to enforce or regulate on fertilizer. So that's Pocca's efforts. And so that was huge success that, again, any town can do this if they want to. The next thing is, right now what we're working on is preventing Eversource from spraying herbicides on our power lines to maintain vegetation overgrowth from knocking down our electrical source. They used to mow once every 7 years. Now the vegetation management plan says we use herbicides. 5 different types of chemicals going above an aquifer. I'm like, whoa, there's got to be a cost-effective, simpler, more successful way, right? So I'm really educating and talking to the selectmen, boards of health, and water commissions about what the towns can do. Well, the state overrides the towns and continues to say, go ahead and keep spraying. So I've got 21 towns now involved between, Martha's Vineyard and Cape Cod, and still the state continues to override what the towns want. We just want to upgrade our quality here. We just want to protect our greatest natural resource, our drinking water. And the state's not allowing us in this instance because of the preemption law. Check that out. Preemption law for the state of Massachusetts doesn't allow towns to do this. So in Maine, they're making ordinances and bylaws left and right. You don't spray where children's parks are and things like that. It's working, So unfortunately, we have a little hurdle. I'm trying to figure out how to get over, get around, get through, whatever the words are. So that has been a 5-year, we haven't changed one word yet. We're continuing to ask more of the state. Now we're up to an adjudicatory hearing with the towns and at the state level, up in Boston. So the other thing that Pocca is really working on is working with the senator. Julianne Senator Sear has 2 bills now at the State House on behalf of this mission to protect and use different sources of vegetation management other than herbicides. So that is gallant effort for our senator to stand up and help us on this mission as well. And there'll be a time where we can go to the State House when they're up for discussion, where we, the people, can say and give presentations of 2 or 3 minutes why it is that this bill needs to pass. So that would be a time that I would love to do a shout out. Come and join us at the State House.
Yeah,
be a part of the mission, you know?
Yeah.
What's interesting is that the state of Massachusetts is using outdated studies and research that has been out since like the 70s. And it was these studies have actually been made by the chemical companies themselves who have made the herbicides. And so these studies are okayed by the EPA, so that's their standing. So they're saying they're saying to us, we can't prove that it's making us sick, but they can't prove that it's not, that it is, you know what I mean, that it's not making us sick. So there's a dance, because they're standing up for them, but they're not standing up for us, which is
that's what we need to do. I just put in, to finish that segment, I just put in a request. In 10 days, they need to give me exactly what you're talking about. Test results of 5 different herbicides, separated, mixed together on sandy soil, the dates and the manufacturer, and who did the test studies. That just went out. They have 10 days to actually conform or write that they can't get all that data within 10 days and their reason why. That just went out to MDAR, the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources. We're working really closely with them to understand where they're at as a state, why they can allow this above an aquifer, and they want to know from us how we're harmed. So what we're having a problem with is not being able to prove harm, because nobody's actually sick yet, and that is the whole point.
We don't
want to wait till our wells are ruined, our drinking water and our health. And the state says, no, you have to prove harm. And so we're at this point of juncture. So it'll be really fascinating to see how history, rolls with this. You know?
I would say there's plenty of people that are already sick, and you can trace it back to the environment that we're in. So, a lot of people, when they think of bad drinking water, they think of a place like Flint, Michigan, which is, economically hard already, but they think Cape Cod and they think, the Kennedys and money and affluence. They would never think that Cape Cod, which is sitting on a natural aquifer, would have all these problems with the water, but it does. And it's not, just one thing attacking it. We're getting into some of the different causes here today, and solutions as well, which is great, but it's just so many different things. You have the spraying, the herbicides, the use of people, in their own backyard using Monsanto products. We have an Air Force base, which has leaked tons of jet fuel into the water supply.
Yeah.
So it's just, and I grew up in Falmouth, and when I was living here, I had a ceramic filter for the tap on the water, and I had to change it every 6 months when it's supposed to last a year, because the water's so bad here. And it really highlights it. But just listening to what you're saying there, why, we were talking about it at the power lines off camera, but I was like, well, how do they do it? Do they fly over and just spray? Because you're looking and you see along the power lines where all these people's houses. We saw turkeys there earlier,
right.
And I guess you were saying they go and spray it all down with a big hose and wearing chemical suits.
Let me give you the scene. Ready?
Yeah.
So you're familiar with a leaf blower, right? 4-inch wide mouth kind of a thing attached to a backpack sprayer that is gasoline ridden, and they have 3 to 5 gallons of mixed herbicides on their backs. So there's a guy on a quad. And the back of the quad is a trailer, and in the trailer are these 5-gallon jugs, about 20 of them. And so he's driving the quad, and so he's going along the power lines, and there might be 10 or 12 people abreast with the sprayers going around spraying. This is the video that we saw years back. Now they're saying now they're using a little target, you know, but it's so hard for us to believe when we have videos of what's going on to what's we're talking about in a room with people with suit. You know, those people might not actually be on power lines that day. So we've had problems with drift because of wind here on Cape Cod. It's windier more than it's not, you know. So I know that they say that they can spray between usually September to December 31st. So there's that enough time, and they can do it in 1 month if the weather's correct. If the weather's good, they can do it. So there's a lot going on out there that I think we just don't understand.
And you know, just looking at the different chemicals that they're spraying, so they're spraying herbicides all along the power lines, which then gets down into the water supply. What is specifically in the herbicides? It's glyphosate, right? That's
the active ingredient for Roundup is glyphosate.
Yeah, is that what they're spraying?
Well, that is one of 5 different types of herbicides. There's amazepar, triclofor, Roundup, ammonium, and methylmethamine. Don't quote me on that because I'll never say it correctly. But the thing with Roundup is that they're using less over time. So they'd say that they're not using it, yet they won't take it off the YOP. The YOP is the yearly operational plan, which lasts for a year. And then there's a VMP, the vegetation management plan, which lasts 5 years. So we're at the 5th year. They've been spraying Cape Cod for 4 years. This is the 5th year in a row. 8, 9, and this year's 10 towns, plus 3 towns on Martha's Vineyard. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is thousands of gallons of herbicides when I know homeowners are using them too. Okay.
But the thing is that there's these 5 herbicides, and glyphosate is one. And yes, you could buy it, but the other ones have other factors that affect the environment more than they do on the humans, because me and you and Laura can't go buy the other 4. You have to be licensed, a Massachusetts licensed pesticide applicator to buy these herbicides and spray them. So that's the thing, there hasn't been, I mean, unless they can provide these studies that she requested, there hasn't been any studies showing the potential harm that can be done to humans, but it has shown the harm that it can be done to animals, wildlife.
The label's the law, right? And if you read the label on these bags of herbicides, that's what I do when I study. I'm like a Saturday night researcher kind of thing. I'm bored. I'm like, okay, let's see what the label says. But garland 4, environmental hazards will kill oysters on contact. And you're like, this is allowed on Cape Cod? You know, I know the power lines is down the backbone of Cape Cod, not on the ocean, but isn't it just a matter of time? And how long does it last? Well, the manufacturer is going to say one thing, the third-party tester is going to say another. So we're in this big, you know, debate over this whole situation. In the meantime, can we protect ourselves? Can we advocate the precautionary principle? You know, why aren't we? Why isn't the state saying, wait, you're right, you know, we shouldn't rely on the testing from the manufacturer. We should, it's this huge thing that's what we keep pushing for.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's all one water supply system. So if you're spraying it on the backbone of Cape Cod, it goes down into the aquifer, you know, and then it goes out through the rest of the water system into the ocean anyways. So it's not like it's disconnected.
Correct.
And if they ever, I mean, if they don't test for it, how would they even know if it's filtered out in the soil or whatever? I mean, there's no way of knowing. In all these studies, like you've said, we've seen in the past, Kevin Folta's email account was hacked, and it was turned out that he was an independent scientist claiming he was independent, but in his emails it showed that he was getting $50,000 grants from Monsanto, and other things have, you know, taken place where, you know, it's been revealed that Monsanto is paying people to troll online, and they're obviously paying scientists off as well, which, you know, is a historical thing in our country with, you know, the tobacco industry, per se. They did the same thing, where you had doctors saying, oh, you know, cigarettes are fine for you, and have one a day, it'll relieve your stress. Well, now they're saying GMOs are fine, yet the World Health Organization declared glyphosate is a carcinogen. So we have a system that's completely, destroying our health, and the powers that shouldn't be know it. We talked a little bit about this off camera, but I see this as sort of a larger plan to sort of depopulate everyone. And this is just one part of that, where you have our water's toxic and it's, making people sick. But I don't know, do you guys have anything to say on sort of that issue, where it's sort of a, one piece in a larger puzzle here?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show how important it is to get involved in your local community and educate one another and support your local farmers and support your local artists and support your local economy and vote with your dollar and not support these massive corporations that are in it for their shareholders. And that's the whole mentality and foundation of any corporation. But when you go into a local community and So yeah, going along with what you were saying, I think that the most important and essential part of maybe combating that theory is to support our local economies and support our local farmers and grow your own food and put your money into your local economy, because there are amazing communities that exist all over the United States that I've seen all throughout all my travels and all over the world, really. And it's those communities that don't get the mainstream media, putting the spotlight on them because they're not controversial and they're not too big enough. But that's the beauty of it. Like, that's where creativity comes, and that's where you get to experience this interconnectedness of humanity. And when it comes to corporations, they're only trying to create profit for their shareholders, and they don't really consider the consumer as an entity. They just consider the consumer as a piggy bank, really. So I think that it's really, really important to, like I said, support your local economy and your fellow neighbors.
Your dollar's your vote. It's really simple. Like, I think the simple answer to all of this is vote with your dollar. Every single day you purchase something, and to keep your money local means you're building your own community, not some big, huge corporation. It's that easy. You matter, I matter. Every time you buy something, whether it's food, gasoline, local restaurants. And I am so impressed by our farmers markets. I mean, have you ever been? I can tell you, there's so many talented people in our community. I'm shocked.
And I'm sure there is in your community too. You just gotta look it up, and if there isn't one, then start one up. My friend started one up this summer in Brewster. I mean, and it's hard work, but it's worth it, because then you can see your community flourish.
And reach out to your selectmen, because guess what? We got 8 towns this year. That's 4 towns last year, 2016, 8 towns this year, 2017. Towns are involved, standing up against the state on these matters to protect drinking water here. This is what we, Pocca, have done. This is what any community can do. You have to just have the wish, the desire, the want, and never stop.
And the pendulum is definitely swinging.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And I can see, to answer your question a little more, as far as the big picture goes, that absolutely these herbicides are made to kill. They are not just killing one plant at a time, okay? They will kill a lot more living organisms. Like what? Okay, microorganisms, worms, to, we are now proving, human health. Monsanto said glyphosate, Roundup, stays in the plant. It doesn't move. Well, then how come it's in rain? How come it's in goat's milk? How come it's in women's breast milk? How come it's in unborn children? Okay? That does not mean the plant is absorbing the product. That means it is living longer than we expected. It is around the world. People are doing piss tests in other countries. It's everywhere. It's on the planet. It goes up in our rain travels, and it comes down. We are drinking Roundup. Okay, this has got to be banned planet-wide, and there are other countries doing that on different levels. Some countries, they're banning it per, like homeowner can't use it. Some are banning it per the whole entire country, so those levels of banning going on right now. What is the United States doing? Selling more! Happy day, everything's on sale. As soon as you walk into a store, legally, a store has to have Roundup shown within 12 feet as soon as you open the door. I learned that recently. I freaked out. I was like, what? This is ridiculous. So the push for more to the manufacturer is going on, and education will be the key. Once you know that there is an alternative, vinegar, then use that and don't harm yourself. What does Roundup do? What does glyphosate specifically do to the human body? It kills male sperm cells. Sorry guys, I can't make this shit up. I can't make this up, but it is depopulating us as a human race in just 3 generations. What does that mean? As rats in a cage and mice in a cage, they are proving after 3 generations there is no sperm in order to reproduce again. And this is where we're headed. I can actually see, with the possibility of the death of the bees planet-wide, that is one, it's literally on the tipping point of extinction. They just on January 11th, bees, 7 different types of bees are on the endangered species list. Do we know this? Is this in the news? The comic book knows, and we're still spraying. What are we doing less than our impact? We're not. They're gonna die. Do you know human race only has 5 years to live after the honeybee dies?
Yeah.
So that's
crazy.
The
solution for this is not to clean the environment up. It's to do stuff like genetically modify mosquitoes to replace the bee, which is like, wait, so you're gonna take a bad problem and make it worse?
Mm-hmm. The funding is going to create robo-bees.
Robo-bees,
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Mobi and the robo-bee?
It has a little
Tufts
backpack
at
on
MIT.
it, right?
You can go like this, and your bees can fly around.
Yeah.
They're metal, but they called me. Harvard called me up and said, "Hey, can you come in? Because I've been a 17-year beekeeper. Can you come and help us?" And I showed up there, and they said, "Okay, we don't know how to get the bee to go to the plant." And I looked at them and I said, "It's called chemistry." I couldn't believe. I said, "Listen, I'm leaving. I can't be a part of this project. I don't believe in it. Because what if it becomes chemical warfare someday? All they have to do is put a vaccine in this bee, and that's like a whole different level. It freaks me out. So I really believe that we have to just keep it simple. Every single day matters. Your purchase matters. This is easy, But in the big picture, there are real threats to the human race population right now that if we as, again, power and numbers will prevail. If we can educate and get good dated science out there of what's really going on and have people shift. You need 15% of the population, bam, it's gone like a wave.
Yep.
So that's where we're at, is a level of educating, and do your own research. It'd be fascinating to see. There's 2 sides to every story.
So another thing that I thought was really important, which is actually the main reason why we're even shooting this film today, is we're trying to set an example with your organization that other people around the country can follow. So if you live in, Nebraska, Florida, wherever, even Flint, I guarantee the water that you're drinking that's coming through your tap is suffering from the same types of problems we are having here in Cape Cod. High power lines exist across the country, and we know that these techniques are likely being used everywhere. So if someone were to start their own organization, how would they go about starting their own Pocca in their town?
Well, just do your own research on what it takes to create a 501c3 or 2. Look and see which one is best. Or 501c1. That's 501c3-1 or 2 or 3. Each one has a different kind of read-ups depending on what your goals are. And that was my first step. First I really worked with selectmen. I thought, geez, people should get involved. And so I created an organization. Now people are getting involved. Now that you become an organization and you're not just some, local horticulturist down the street, which is what I am. Realizing you can't mix these herbicides together. Oh my gosh, the plants, the flora, the fauna. I mean, you're affecting so much more than that. That's what started me off, is the realization that this is ridiculous. And so anybody can do this. You can speak with your selectmen. That's what they're there for. You voted for them. Go to them with your proposed questions and work with your town. Like, become their friends. You're in this together. You guys live on the same land, you eat the same food, you drink the same water. And so I see it as a team effort, and I'm so proud of Cape Cod towns. I want to just thank you all for being for standing up when we don't know how to stand up, what to do. This is changing history. I've certainly never done this. You can't read about it. It's not happened. And we're just kind of rolling. Like, I feel like I make things up. So one day I ended up with 5 arguments. You pick your favorite argument. You pick your favorite argument. And literally went around the room and came up with, bees and distance of water and depth of, blah, blah, blah. Each one of us had something turned into a paragraph. And now that's what we're bringing to the State House with a lawyer. So it's just, kind of always evolving and changing and making it up as you go along. It's seeing what works and what doesn't work. So feel free to go to poccacapecod.org and see what we have done, because it's a lot, and I'm sure that towns can learn from what we have done and get there much faster and quicker. That would be my greatest suggestion is, try to find somebody else that's done what your goals are. And if we could get the whole state of Massachusetts involved on this to allow no herbicides along power lines, that's the ultimate goal, right?
Well, I think you can take it from there. Like, say we win the no spraying on power lines, then other towns that rely on, well water and stuff like that can use the same argument to say no spraying herbicides on your fields.
Sure.
And then we can get rid of the farming that uses the big herbicides and the pesticides and all that, because you're setting a precedent, and that precedent can roll forward, and everyone else on the internet watching this can now use your precedent that you're setting in their own town, and we can do this on a national level, because you're not going to see like the federal government step in and do anything. The Trump administration is very pro-GMO as far as all indications are. So it has to happen on a local level, and then we can build on that like a snowball rolling downhill.
Yeah,
so
that's the goal.
I would definitely look into also, like how Laura mentioned, the yearly operational plan or vegetation management plan. If there's anything like that in your town or wherever you're from, if it's Eversource or National Grid or whatever company, whatever utility company exists in your municipality or town, definitely look into that, because that's definitely the start of it, because that is public information, and it'll have all the herbicides and toxic chemicals that they'll use and how they'll be executing it.
Anyways, I just want to say thank you very much for the time today, and thank you from everyone who won't be getting sick, because you two are leading the fight for a clean water. So.
Thank you.
I just want to drink the water here. I'm the 11th generation born and raised on the Cape, and that's literally what got me to start. It's like, just what about the next 11 generations? There's no way drinking water is going to be drinkable then unless we start now.
There won't be 11 generations if we don't.
It's a personal reason turning bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay in touch.
All
Pocca,
the
Cape Cod.
information will be in the description box.
This is Titus Frost, spitting truth, causing glitches in the matrix.
Recognize the ones who are fake to us. We gotta recognize truth, question what's real. So much more to life than chasing these bills. Money causing stress, and stress can kill. People don't need money, but we all need to heal. We need a clean source of food, clean water. Gotta take better care of our sons and our daughters. Gotta take better care of ourselves. It's time